morning class. I'm still reminding you of the subject project. Please and please again, they will come and inspect it. I said any book you have read, just 2 sheets or 2 pages, double spacing. Don't copy from anybody, because if you copy from anybody, I will give you 0. So please, just give me a summary of the book. That is it for the subject project. And it ends in next week. By next weekend, you should bring it here to me. Don't post, bring it. Not online, please. Okay. Now, we started by looking at sentence last week, and we said a sentence is anything meaningful we say or write. And we cited example, and we said that every good sentence must have at least 2 of this. And the most important thing is the subject and the verb. The subject and the verb. And so we cited a series of examples. So we got to know what goes into a sentence. What goes into a sentence. And so we said that a sentence in a sentence, these are some of the elements: subject, verb, object, complement, adjunct. They are the elements that should go into a sentence. Very, very important. Now, today we are going to look at types of sentence and classification of sentences. So our topic for today is type of sentences, which is lesson 9. Types of sentences. Now we have 2 types of sentences. We have what we call a functional sentence and what we call the structural sentence. Functional and structural sentences. What do we mean by functional sentence and what do we mean by structural sentences? The functional sentences are those that we use daily, every day. We use they are the daily use of the sentence. So every day we ask questions, we make a statement, we make a request, or we give commands, and we also make a sign, that is the exclamation. Then the structural sentences. These sentences are structured in this, either simple, complex, compound, or compound, complex. We will look at them and what they entail. And so we're going to pick them one after the other. The first one that we'll be looking at is the functional sentence. Is the structural sentence rather. Structural sentence.
Sir, a moment.
So we are looking at types of sentences. And under the type of sentences, we have structural sentence, and we also have functional sentence. Now, the structural sentence has to do with the various groups of words and the way they are structured, such that when you are saying it, you either use long sentences or short sentences. So it could be simple, complex, compound, complex sentence. And then when it comes to the functional sentence are the daily sentences. do we do with it? Every day we ask questions. Every day we make statements. We give commands, we make requests, and then we make exclamation signs or we sigh. So we are going to pick them one after the other. So the first one that we'll be looking at is the structural sentence. And under the structural sentence, we have simple sentence. We have complex sentence. We have compound sentence. And then we have compound, complex sentence. Remember, we don't have complex compound sentence, but we rather have compound complex sentence. So these are, by structure, these are the types of sentences that we have. So under the structural sentences, we can classify the sentence according to simple, complex, compound complex, and then compound sentences. So let us pick them one after the other. So the first one that we'll be looking at is the simple sentence. And we say that simple sentences introduce an idea or a single idea. So, if somebody writes, I slept off, I am sick, I am eating, I went to bank, only one idea is being introduced here. Here, it tells us the person is asleep. Here, it tells us the person is sick. Here, it tells us the person went to the bank. So, we are talking of where a sentence introduces just an idea or a single idea. And so, when that is done, we're saying it is a simple sentence. Now, the next one that we'll be looking at is the complex sentence. And the complex here, sentence here introduces two, two unequal ideas. Why do we say they are unequal ideas? Because one of part of the sentence has to rely on the other in order to make a complete sense. Example. When I was coming, I met the principal. The rule says that if you write a sentence this way, when you begin a sentence with a subordinating coordinator, a subordinating conjunction, you have to bring comma at the middle of the sentence. But if you write it this way, beginning with the main idea or the main clause, you write, I met the principal, without bringing any comma in the middle, but the subordinating conjunction in there. When I was coming. This tells you that the sentence has two parts. This is the first part, and this is the second part, which is separated by the comma. And that that also begins with a subordinating conjunction. And so, what are some of the conjunctions, subordinating conjunctions we are talking of here? We are talking of when, who, which, whom, before, if, although, though, even though, as, etc. These are few of the subordinating conjunctions. They are called subordinating conjunctions. Subordinating conjunctions. These are few of them. Now, let's go back to the sentence. When I was coming, I met the principal. Now, we say that the sentence has two unequal parts. Two unequal parts. Now, it means that when you divide the sentence into two, you have a dependent or subordinate clause and you also have independent or main clause. So if I write when I was coming, this is what we refer to as dependent or subordinate clause. This is what we refer to as dependent or subordinate clause. Because if I say when I was coming, it is a clause because it has a subject and it has a verb in it, so it's a clause. And then it begins with a subordinating conjunction. That is why we say it is dependent or subordinate clause. Meaning this has to rely on another part of the sentence, which is I met the principal. Now, from this portion to this portion is referred to as independent or main clause. Because this portion can stand on its own and it can make what? A complete what? Sense or meaning without the help of when I was coming, which is dependent. But dependent or the subordinate clause cannot stand on its own and it cannot make any meaning unless it relies on the independent or the main clause in order to make a complete meaning. So we need to understand that we have to make different clauses in a complex sentence. And the clauses are dependent or subordinate clause and independent or main clause. So these clauses form the complex sentence, and that they are unequal because the dependent clause cannot stand on its own unless it relies on the other side, which is the independent. But the independent clause can stand on its own without the dependent clause without the dependent clause. Moving on to another type of sentence. We are moving on to another type of sentence. And that type of sentence is called compound sentence. Compound sentence. What do we mean by compound sentence? What do we mean by compound sentence? Here it presents a compound sentence contains two equal ideas. Two equal ideas, meaning the ideas in the said sentences are what? Same. They are same. And so here, what comes to the mind is that this contains two independent or main clauses. Two independent or main clauses. So let's see. Amma fetched the water Kofi fetched the food. These are two independent clauses. And you see subject, verb, object. Subject, verb, object. So there are two equal ideas. And we all know Amma fetched the water and Kofi fetched the food. And so we want to put the two together. And we'll use a coordinating conjunction by using and. Amma fetched the water and Kofi fetched the food, making the two independent clauses put together to get a compound sentence. It is compound because here the two ideas are same. They have the same content. And when we talk of the compound sentence, or joining two independent clauses or two equal ideas together, we use what we call the coordinating conjunction. And this acronym represents the coordinating conjunctions. We call it fun voice. And you get your for, you get your and, you get your nor, you get your but, you get your or, you get your yet, and so here. So you get your acronym fanboys. They are for the compound sentences. If you want to put two clauses of equal ideas together, this is what you choose in putting them together. Fanboys. Fanboys. So you always have to get it at the back of the mind. So that is what we mean by a compound sentence. All right. The The next one that we are looking at is what we refer to as the compound complex. Compound complex sentence. Compound complex sentence. Here we have two equal ideas and one unequal idea put together. Meaning, example, you have two independent clauses and one dependent clause. Put together. An example. Kwame fetched the water and Amma prepared the meal. While their mother supervised. Kwame fetched the water and Amma prepared the meal while their mother supervised. This is independent. Put together by a conjunction. Then another independent. And then from here going, while their mother supervised is dependent. So we have two equal ideas and one unequal idea, making it a compound complex sentence. A compound complex sentence. So we need to look at that. We need to look at that. Okay. So we are done with a complex sentence, a simple sentence, a compound sentence, and a compound complex sentence. And we say that a simple sentence has just an idea. A complex sentence has two unequal ideas. Compound complex sentence has two equal ideas and one unequal idea. And a compound sentence has two equal ideas. Now we move on to another type of sentence. We are moving from a structural sentence to what we refer to as a functional sentence. Functional sentence. And the functional sentences are always what comes out of the mouth. Functional sentence. And they are declarative, which is also known as statement. We have interrogative, which is also known as question. We have imperative, which is also known as command or request. And 4, we have what we call exclamation. These are the 4 types. That is, there are also 4 types. So we'll be looking at them one after the other. Shall we look at declaration? So every day we make a statement. Example, if you say declarative or statement, then we use it to state our cause or whatever we have in mind. So I go to class every day. I went to mass this morning. Kofi was admitted at the hospital. Kofi was admitted at the hospital. All these are declaratives. We use it to state. So we are stating what happened. So I went to mass this morning. Kofi was admitted at the hospital. I go to class every day. We are making a statement. We are making a statement. All right. Then we move on to the next one, which is interrogative. Which is known as question. And we use the interrogative to state or ask questions. So if I say, when did you travel? Let us not forget that if you make a statement, the only mark to show that it is a statement is the use of full stop. Very, very important. And when we talk of question, the only mark that will help us identify that it is a question is the question mark. When did you travel? Who ate the food? Who is the principal of your college? So we can have a W each question is, how are you? How are you? All these are there for us to look at, and they are called the interrogatives. And we say that we use it to ask questions. We use it to ask questions. Very, very important. So that is what the interrogatives are meant for. The next one to look at is the imperatives or command stroke request. If it is command, it takes exclamation sign at the end, and if it is request, it takes full stop at the end. Set, come, eat are all commands. They are all commands. But if I say, please sit, please come, kindly eat. Remember, we don't say please kindly eat, but you can say please eat or kindly eat. Then I am making a request. I'm making a request. So that's the difference between command and request. So you can give a command by shouting at the person, sit down, it's a command. Come, command. Go away, it's a command. So that is also another side of it. So that is the command and the request. The last one to look at is the exclamation. Is the exclamation. So if you say wow, it's exclamation, and this is the sign. What a beauty. What a goal. What a car. They are all exclamations. They are all exclamations. And so we say that here is called what? Exclamation. And the only sign is this particular sign. So that is all that we can talk of today. Please read around the topic. Check what it takes to deal with it. At our next lesson, we'll look at sentence faults. Sentence faults. I'm writing it on the board so that you read around it and ask your questions. So we'll look at sentence faults. So you read around sentence faults or sentence fragments. And then ambiguity. You read around them at our next meeting. We'll continue with our lesson at our usual place, that is WhatsApp and the Telegram. We can have our questions and further discussions at that end. So let us meet at that point with your questions and then we discuss them. Come with your questions. Come with your questions so that we'll discuss them at that point. Thank you and hope to meet you next time. Please observe all the COVID-19 protocols so that you will be healthy all the time. Don't forget that next week is the closing date for your subject project. Until next week, I say goodbye and enjoy your day. Stay safe. Bye.